James Anthony Alise.
Don't be saying
better
that.
known as Jimmy.
Don't be saying that on the radio or whatever we're on.
Hey, Jim, we committed to try to help the agents that we have kind of get their name out in the general public Medicare world. And so we felt it was important to highlight kind of the work you're doing here.
Yeah.
And you've been with us about a year and a half. Now, you came from the career side. That's actually where I knew you, from the career side at Humana.
Yeah.
And then you left and became an independent agent, and you picked us as a home. And we've really enjoyed it for the last year and a half. It's been a joy to have you. And we've kind of seen your business kind of take a little jog to the left in terms of, we all came from the Medicare world. But what I want to talk about today is, first off, what area do you kind of generally work? Where's your market?
Well, mainly my market is anywhere from New Orleans over to Lafayette.
Okay.
I've got customers even up into Alexandria.
Okay. South Louisiana.
South Louisiana, a little bit of Mississippi, some in Alabama, some in Texas.
Okay.
Some in Indiana. I got about 3 clients in Indiana.
Good luck on that drive.
Yeah. Well. So I got a pretty good following. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important. We all try to expand. We get a client that'll call from Texas. And I mean, I've got one client in Nevada, just because somebody said, hey, you helped my sister. Would you help me? And it's like you hate to tell anybody no. So, we do expand out into the multiple states. Mm-hmm. But primarily, our market is going to be the southeast region, whether it be from Texas to Florida, on up into Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas. It's just kind of our reach. Now, it's not to say we're not moving out from there.
Right.
But your home area would be, let's say from New Orleans to Lafayette, and then kind of on up to Shreveport. That's where the bulk of your customers are.
Pretty much, yeah.
What has been the biggest challenge for you coming from the career side, being an agent with just one product, and then getting out into the market where you had, 5 or 6 different carriers to deal with? What's been the biggest challenge for you?
I think that transition initially was the biggest challenge. When you are a career agent, of course, you only have to worry about one company,
right? And
you got the support behind that for most part. But when you step out into the broker area, it's like you're picking up these multiple companies, and you want to get all the absolute knowledge of each one of these.
Yeah,
and so
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
But when I came here, you guys were very instrumental making that transition as painless as possible. And so, but the other thing is too, where does the support come from? When I was with a career, I had the support of said company. But now when I'm stepping out on my own, it's like, okay, I'm out here, but where do I get support? Where do I get quick answers? Where do I get quick help? And I found that by coming here and working with you guys.
Yeah, no, look, that's the way we built this out. This is what our model is, if you want to call it that, is that we've all been where you were.
Yeah.
That's where we came from.
Yeah.
And the scariest thing the day, John and I left the company, and it's like, okay, how do we do this without any guidance?
Right.
I really didn't have any guidance. I mean, you get the carriers will guide you, and of course your upline will help you.
Right.
But you got to figure it out.
That's
and,
right.
When we meet with people now, they expect that we know about all the products.
Absolutely.
Because we tell them we're brokers, so we manage all the products. So you can't really, put that out there and then say, well, I don't really know anything about this product, because that's what they're looking for. Some place that they can look at all their options. Mm-hmm. What's the best option for me? Or what's your opinion? What do you think I need to do? So,
right.
So it was a learning curve for us. It's an ongoing education. I mean, daily we read stuff. We try to attend any meeting we can with the carriers to try to understand their positioning, their strategy, so that when a client comes to us, we're giving them the best we got.
That's right.
Yeah. And so we feel like it's our obligation to make sure anybody that's operating under Plus 65 has the same knowledge base and support the clients, because that's how we build our business.
Right.
When you help Betty Sue, then she tells her friend, hey, go to see Jim.
That's right.
Because he knows what he's talking about. He's going to help you out. So we feel like that's paramount, is that we know what we're talking about in this area. I hate to use the word expert, but we try to be as knowledgeable as we can about the products in the area. One thing that I found interesting about your skill set is that, we're all from that Medicare world. And we do, sell some life insurance here, and we, get into dental and some of the ancillary products because our clients ask about it. But what I found kind of fascinating about you is that you really have a deep knowledge beyond Medicare. And what I'm always interested in is how do you kind of parlay that in either from that to Medicare or Medicare to that? Because, when people come in and get their Medicare, a lot of times they're losing their life insurance when they're moving away from a group.
That's true.
Because they only have it because they're with a group, or it's limited. They can only get up to say 100,000.
Or it goes up in price big time.
Exactly. So how do you do your fact finding with your clients? It doesn't matter what direction you go, whether it's Medicare to that, to life, or a life client that's aging into Medicare.
Right.
How do you kind of manage that process?
Well, Mike, I've always taken the approach since I've been in business since 1982, is that I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. So when I sit down with a client, I'm going to educate them and find out exactly where they're at, and then propose whatever benefits that they're looking for. And I use that by doing a fact finder on every person. I want to know, who do you have for health insurance? Who do you have for life insurance? Who do you have for whatever? And I get that information, but I convey to the consumer, I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to educate you. You're going to make the decision on which product fits once I get through educating you. And when you take that approach, it takes the pressure off the people. Because let's face it, even if it's just Medicare, people can have a certain amount of resistance when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
They thinking you're a salesman. Okay. I don't want that. I want them to look at Jim Alise as an educator, as their friend, become friend of the family. That way, guess what? Hey, I'm going to refer you to Betty Sue because you know why? You educated me. I was happy to find out because of this process, I got a call from Humana about 3 weeks ago congratulating me on a 95% retention rate.
That's extremely important.
Yes. Now, why do I have a good retention rate? Well, because of what we just talked about. And also, I do cross-selling while I'm in the home. Now, obviously, we can't do life insurance and Medicare combined together, but we can gather the information on those products and set up a follow-up appointment for a later date. And statistics show that if you've got more than 2 or 3 products, your retention rate jumps up to 75%.
Yeah.
So the people know if they have an insurance question, and I always tell people this, don't call the home office. You call me. I will find out the answer for you. I'm here to serve you. And I think with that approach, that's really led me to have a pretty decent career here.
Yeah. You're exactly right. The best advice I ever got was of a good friend of ours, Dale Laborde. When I was new in the business, I was in sales mode.
Yeah.
And the first time we went out on an appointment, I was putting hard press on him, and we left, and he's like, dude, you don't need to sell it.
That's right.
You need to educate.
That's right.
They're going to take what they need.
That's
so
right.
he said, stop selling, relax, don't sell. They're going to take the product that's good for them.
Yeah.
And, at first when he said that, I was like, wait, we're salespeople. And he said, no. He said, you're educators. So when it comes to Medicare, it's not like you're selling the best TV, because they don't have to buy a TV. But in most cases, when we get into a situation with Medicare, they really don't have a choice. They got to do something in order to be compliant with CMS. But they have a choice of who they do it with.
That's good. Yeah.
So, you're right. If you go in there guns blazing and you're in that full sales mode, they're like, whoa, that's too much pressure.
Yeah.
But if you are there as an educator, a knowledge, expert knowledge base, then they look at it in terms of, he's trying to help me. He wants the best for me. So, that was the best advice I ever got in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Was don't sell.
Educate.
Just educate. They're going to come to you.
That's
make
correct.
Make them want you, and then you've got the biggest part of it licked.
That's right.
So I always found that I really liked your approach, because I had clients that come to me for annuities, and that's just not my thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of leaned on you and said, Jim, these are good clients, but I need you to help them out.
Yeah.
So it's a comfort to us to know we have that knowledge base within our group, and it's not to say other agents in our group can't do that.
No.
It's just I found that your knowledge and experience in that area is pretty wide.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think your future is really bright, and
I'm
expanding
really
that,
excited. Yeah.
and to be able to offer that to our customers, whether it's my customer or not.
Yeah.
To be able to because you could help another agent lock down somebody,
Absolutely.
and you're open to that.
Yeah.
You've offered it many times. That,
Yeah.
Hey, it's not about me. It's about helping the entire group.
It's about helping that customer.
Yeah.
It's about directing them, educating them on where they should go.
Yeah.
Because anybody can sell them, but not everybody will educate them.
Exactly. So if you had to, kind of project for this year, is there any one thing that you feel like you want to key in on more that you didn't last year? Is there any area, or you just feel like you're well-rounded?
Well-rounded, Mike. And, again, the main thing is the fact finders. That's paramount to me. How do you do a good job for anybody if you don't do some type of fact finding or needs analysis?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So my goal is to make sure I have a needs analysis or fact finder on every single person. And you know what? Because think about this. What if they enroll in Medicare, but maybe the annuity is not right for them right now? I can take that needs analysis and put it in my file and follow up with them at a later date.
Yeah. See, I think that's where some people really get off track, is they have that, what they call sales breath. And they just got to make a sale today.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to look at down the road and say, okay, I'm not going to pressure them now because it's not right. The timing is not right.
Yeah.
But this is something they're going to need at this point in their life. So you just kind of uncover the need and say, you know what, this isn't right now, but down the road you're going to need to do this.
That's
so
right.
Let's revisit that. And I think people enjoy taking a step back, or at least feel comfortable that they can do that, and you're not trying to force something on them now.
Yeah.
So I think that your approach is awesome. We're excited to have you, and not only that is that we look at your experience at being able to kind of help us push that information down to some of the newer agents.
Absolutely.
They kind of look to the people who've been around a while, veterans or whatever you want to call it, is like, hey, how do I handle this? What do I do?
Yeah.
So we're excited to have you do that. How is somebody going to get a hold of Jim Alise?
Well,
they can do that?
My phone number is 225-367-0123.
Okay.
And if they want to send me an email, it'sjalise, ALISE, 37@gmail.com.
Great.
Yeah.
And if they happen to get to the office looking for you, because we've had it happen, they'll come in and say, I'm looking for Jim. But we're more than glad to forward that person on to you and make that connection.
Well, that's one thing I want to give a shout out to Jennifer. I had a client that stopped by here one day, and he had to get his Part B. She went ahead and helped him get his Part B, and then we turned around and set up an appointment for me to do the enrollment.
Yeah.
So, that's teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
Well,
Jim, we're going to have a great year, and we're so
Yes,
glad
we
you're
are.
with us. Hope you enjoyed our discussion today on Plus 65 Digital. Reach out to us at info@plus65advisors.com or give us a call at 225-408-4100. Make Plus 65 Advisors part of your Medicare process.